I think you should absolutely be rating atrocities.
I think an atrocity is an atrocity either way. And I think that ranking them gets you absolutely nowhere. Because that's not actually helping solve anything in any way.
But by putting Japanese internment on the same level of detaining immigrant children for a maximum of 3 days, then you're belittling the atrocity of the Japanese internment. They're not comparable at all.
Again, we have hindsight with that, though. Again, this is in the fetal stages of this policy.
Wow, we're really comparing this to the abortion.
It was simply a use of language, Nolan Flaherty.
But I think when it comes to immigration, I think what we unfairly see are the illegal immigrants. Obviously, we have this very strict zero tolerance policy the president campaigned on, and he kept his promise on. We have the zero tolerance policy. If you enter the country illegally, you are getting deported. But I think what we see, and what should be publicized and is fairly publicized, is we see a lot of illegal immigrants that were making a life here, that have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, right? That have gotten a job, that have been going to college, that have been working harder than you and I, and they're getting deported because they entered the country illegally a decade ago. And I think that's what immigration should be handled on a very, very individual basis. And obviously we could be able to craft legislation on what that individual basis is. But I think if somebody is working here for 10, 15 years, has a life here, has a family here, is having a job, went to college, clearly not committing any crimes, living the American dream, I think that person is no less of an American than me. I think it's completely unfair.
I definitely agree with you, but how does someone get to that stages of being able to get a job and further themselves and go to college? It's because they've come to America and they've immigrated. And they were one of the special cases that weren't caught at the border, and they weren't brought back. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're talking about the same people. If you look at those good cases, how many of the immigrants that we're detaining now could be a good case later if we let them into the country?
Yeah.
And we let them in. I mean, these are people's lives that we could be bettering if we're letting them into our country. And just sort of the thing that irks me is, like, when did this all start? When did we decide that we don't want these people in our country? When were the borders tightened? It's all sort of just played out over the past years, and we keep getting stricter and stricter.
I have to disagree with that. I feel like there's been that underlying feeling here, that anti-immigrant sentiment. It was just that that sentiment needed a hero. It needed a voice, and Donald Trump filled that voice. This is a question to both of you. Which president has deported the most people in American history? This is a question that
Barack Obama.
Politics listeners as well. Barack Obama deported the most people in American history. Not Ronald Reagan, not Bill Clinton, not George Bush.
I think Ronald Reagan granted amnesty to 3 million, right?
Exactly. So Trump's policy is completely out of left field when we look at it from a political angle. But when we look at it from just a popularity angle, it's an absolutely popular idea. Mm-hmm. But when we're talking about trying to actually litigate and legislate real policy, it's simply not plausible or possible to do what Trump is saying. Mm-hmm. Obama's policy, that makes sense. He actually got a lot of flack from the left because he was deporting too many people that weren't necessarily convicts, which he was primarily targeting when he was deporting people. This policy by Trump is a million times extra than Obama's policy. Right?
Yeah. I think I honestly think that in 2016 we actually have this new light on immigration, and I mean, you can tell me if you disagree with this or not, but I feel like before 2016, immigration wasn't actually really a partisan issue. Immigration was kind of something that was tackled on a case-by-case basis by Republicans and Democrats. So you see people like George W. Bush, like Ronald Reagan, that were actually deporting less people than Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. It was only in 2016 when Donald Trump was supporting a zero-tolerance policy on immigration that we see that more Republicans are supporting the deportation of illegal immigrants and not necessarily Democrats. It's really when we see the partisan divide between on the issue of immigration.
Don't you think that that's been there, though, longer than 2016? I mean, we look at in 2008, John McCain appointed Sarah Palin as his vice presidential nominee. Right? She has many of these same views. You look at every single primary for about the last 12 to 16 years, and there's always been a couple candidates, either on the Democrats or the Republicans, that are saying these things that are absolutely out of the wild and out of the mainstream of our political discourse. We're talking about people like Herman Cain, people like Michelle Bachmann, that ran, even people like Ted Cruz. He was saying things that are certainly not things that you hear every day in political discourse. But there were people that absolutely agreed with it.
I think Ted Cruz at the 2016 campaign also proposed a border wall. I think on his website
did.
he said
So, yeah,
a
to
border
some
wall that
extent,
works.
Yeah.
That I feel like the rise of this kind of politics is kind of, it corresponds with the rise of the Tea Party and the Republican Party, where it's this no holds barred kind of approach where we're not gonna apologize for nothing kind of approach that just
I just want to know the thought process behind this border wall. Obviously, I don't think any of us really agree with it. But the amount of money that we'd want to spend, that we'd be spending, or as Trump says, Mexico's going to pay for it. At least in Mexico's interest, could be put towards infrastructure, could be put towards education, could be put towards furthering the economy in Mexico, which is the reason why Mexico has so many people that want to come over the border. If you think about comparing Mexico and Canada to one another, there's a big difference you can see within the economic stature of the two countries, and the overall condition of life is that people are, especially in southern Mexico, are definitely suffering with a lot of poverty.
I just want to say that there's actually been a negative net immigration when it comes to the U.S.-Mexican border. That means more people are actually leaving America and going to Mexico, according to the statistics for the last 5 years. Absolutely.
There was more people leaving the United States to live in Mexico.
Negative net immigration when it came to the American-Mexican border.
I'd like to check your source on that one, but...
Okay, we can check it after the
There's
podcast.
no way. I feel like there's no way we see the incredible
It's
influx of
absolutely
immigrants
true.
from Mexico.
It's absolutely true. We have our fourth member of our Dormant Politics team, Jake Blocker, who's standing right behind the camera. Jake, would you mind looking that up for us? That'd be tremendous.
I'd love to be surprised.
It's like the South Park episode. Do you remember when all the Border Patrol agents are like sitting there?
Battling the Mexicans.
All of the illegal immigrants are going back to Mexico because they realize they think that America sucks. They're all storming the border and they're like, "Where are you going? This is the land of
by the way, just a shout out to Mexico. Fantastic victory
1-0
in the World Cup against Germany. Shout out Chicharito. All right, Jake, what did you find?
I found that yes, we are actually experiencing a net outflow of illegal, undocumented workers from America back to Mexico.
According to whom?
So that's
PolitiFact.
Really?
There you go.
That's just workers though. That's not total immigration. I don't know if that's net immigration total.
I'll give you that, but that's a good.
That's
That's
definitely
an
an interesting
interesting
stat
stat.
for sure.
You know.
The fact that we have, I mean, it could, I don't know, the fact that we have undocumented immigrants that are working in the United States. I mean, how would you have those statistics documented anyway, right?
Yeah, it's a little
tricky to actually tally that.
I'm
it's
sure
hard
you
to
can
document
find ways.
undocumented people.
I don't know if it even
But anyway,
matters.
I really want to talk about. I don't even know if it was a presidential tweet, but it was something that I was notified by a couple of different media sources that President Donald Trump actually wants to unveil a space force. So he says the United States of America wants to have a dominance in space. How are we feeling about that one?
I'm feeling like NASA's getting no love. What happened to space exploration? What happened to the JFK, the 1980s, going up into space? What happened to all of those good times? What happened to the man on the moon? If the moon landing was real, I know some people
I do just
a
want
little bit sketchy on that, but
I do just want to say that the military has always been involved with space.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
the
the
Air
Air Force
Force
was
has
kind of
always
working
been
with
involved
NASA.
with
Yeah.
space. I don't necessarily know what this
The president did say
Space Force would
that
entail.
the Air Force and Space Force would be separate but equal.
yeah, because
That's a good phrase, to use.
I think America's had enough of the separate but equal phrase.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means, but I don't know what a space
We're
force.
really gonna have a space force that's funded at the rate of the United States Air Force.
Well, the word is that it's going to bring thousands of jobs, but I think it's a long time away. Right now, it looks like
that also requires an exorbitant amount of funding.
I mean, we're looking to build like the Death Star
defense
here.
budget.
We're looking to
The
build
defense
the
budget was just increased 13%. I don't know if it was 30.
$76 billion. It's up to $716 billion.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, and that would balloon. That could. I mean, you're thinking about equipment that is so costly. You know, could it eclipse the $1 trillion mark?
If we made a space force that was
a space
equivalent
force.
to the Air Force, yes, it would
So I think-
absolutely eclipse $1 trillion.
Yeah, the idea was that I think it would like stop like missiles and have like some missile guidance system.
I remember Ronald Reagan's Star Wars idea.
Yeah, he had the laser missiles where you shoot them down, right, with the laser.
Yeah, that was a proposal to try to. Anyway, I guess we're gonna see a lot more the Star Wars coming from the United States of America.
I want Mace Windu to make a return.
You think
somehow
so?
in our U.S.
Was that Samuel L. Jackson that played?
Samuel L. Jackson. Who
Was it?
played
He had the purple.
God, it's
The purple lightsaber.
so iconic.
That was incredible.
It really is.
The prequel trilogy sucked though.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good.
No,
Anyway.
it wasn't. But anyway, we just want to thank you for listening. Again, share your thoughts with us, please. We would love to hear from our audience about what they think about our podcast, our videos, our audio, anything.
We do have videos up, obviously, if you're going to be watching this one. So if you're listening to the podcast, go check out our YouTube channel. It's going to just be under Dormer Politics. Everything's also going to be on our website. So if you want to check all that out at dormerpolitics.com. Anyway, my name is Justin Fisher.
I'm Nolan Flaherty.
And I'm Austin Vertine. Adios.